Okay, card number 4, we're going to do landscape. We're going to do a robin on a branch with some holly. So first things I'm going to do are the holly leaves, and I'm going to use some sap green or Windsor green and some blue mixed together just to create a nice holly colour. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do them freehand. You can draw them again if you need to. I'm just going to paint some lines like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to do some shapes like that, so you get like a holly leaf. Again, fill in a little, leave some gaps. Always nice to leave some gaps. Take up some more pigment, turn your paper slightly so that you get a slightly different leaf shape. Fill it in, leave some gaps. We like the holly, but the main focus is the robin, so make sure that you don't overdo it with the holly leaves. I'm going to do another one here. Like that. These can be really loose, semi-abstract leaves, so don't worry about making them perfect. I'm going to do another one here. I'm going to do it upside down. Please turn the paper if you feel like you need to. While they're wet, you can drop other colours into them. I'm just going to do another one just here. Like that. You can see how loose they are. And I'm going to take another colour. I'm just going to drop in some different tone, just to give it a little bit of interest in a slightly thicker paint. Different colour, slightly thicker paint, just to give it a little bit of detail. This can be any green, it could even be a bit of yellow, but make sure that the paint underneath is still wet. Alright, I'm going to put the branch in now. Just going to put the branch in using a thick dark brown, something like a burnt umber. I'm going to start at the base of the branch, thickly like this, and then as we come away, I'm going to start to lift my brush up so that it thins out slightly, especially as we get towards the robin's feet. We're just going to sort of thin it down like that. You need to join up with the holly leaves like that. Maybe put some odd branches coming off just for movement, but just make sure that they're nice and thin at the end, the twigs. You can always add more towards the end if you need to. Berries, red berries. I'm just going to pop them in roughly. They might bleed. Yes, that one did, look. If you're frightened of doing that, you don't want that to happen, then dry off your leaves and your branches before you put the colour down. Put another one. Again, you can add more of these in another time if you want to. You can increase their depth of colour another time. Now, okay, so let's just dry this off because I want to work on the robin carefully. Okay, I've still got some wet berries there, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. Okay, so because the robin is white, your water needs to be really clean. And we're just going to put a nice flash of red onto this robin. So I'm going to go round his face like that. I want to go round his beak like that, and then down into the bottom of his face, and then out into his chest. And his chest colour can be quite broken. You can also use alizarin crimson. The eye is black, so it doesn't really matter if you paint over it. And we're just going to loosely come down with a nice block of colour. Again, you can add different shades of red into this if you want to. So if I pick up a bit of alizarin crimson, you can see that that changes the tone of the red just in that central section. That's entirely up to you. Make it as bright or as dark as you want. Add in some tones if you want of red. Just makes it a little bit more interesting. Okay, let that dry off, please. We don't want any pigment running into that red. Pick up some burnt umber, and then we're going to do the crown of his head. So again, carefully into that crown, over the back, and the heads are quite flat, and then it comes into the wing like that and down. Just block this in, but you can see that from the finished piece you'll be able to see that the wing sort of goes out behind his body, disappears for a short while, and then comes back again down here. So pay attention to that detail. We can see the suggestion of a wing just coming out there like that, and then we've got a tail and a couple of legs. So the tail comes about here and drops down. Now I'm going to make the tail go beyond the branch at the back, and the tail on a robin is sort of slightly forked, so just put a slight fork in the tail, and you can see that that curve there is defining his belly, so that's quite important. I'm going to use my rigger brush because it's finer to put some legs on. So we've got one leg coming down from here like that. Make it slightly wider at the top, and it's actually curving around the branch, so make sure you put that detail in. So his legs, his claws would come round there like that, and also round the back like that. And then there's another one, but it's slightly shorter because he's on an angle there, and then also the claws coming round the back. Okay, oh, we've got the beak as well. Okay, the beak is really important. Don't get it too thick. I'm having difficulty because these berries are still wet, so I always start right at the point of the beak and I put the middle line in and then work outwards, and this will enable you to get the beak nice and fine. What people do is they make the beaks too heavy and then it ends up looking a bit weird, so just be careful with that beak. Do a bit, look at it, do a bit, look at it. Okay, there. So before I do anything else, I'm just going to dry those bits off and hope they don't run. Okay, eye. The eye can be put in with a pen if you haven't got a steady enough hand, easily, but use a nice fine pen. A fibre tip pen is best. Draw it in again if your hand's not steady enough. If you're painting it, make sure it's nice and round. There we go. Just going to put a line along the middle of the beak. You might not see it very easily, but there you go. Okay, so the last bit on the bird is to just put some shadow on. So we're going to use a little bit of Payne's Grey for this, and I'm just using a bit of dirt around the outside actually of my paint box. I've got some there, see? You don't want it to be too dark, so as always with watercolour, you just add water if you want it to be lighter. Try it out on a piece of scrap before you do anything with it. That's still a bit dark, right? And then we're just going to put a little bit of shadow in here, coming down off of his body like that. Just a touch, a little bit on this side, coming off of his body like that. Actually, that needs sorting out, because let's just put that there, and maybe a bit under here, just where he, and you can see that that improves the shape. I've just realised that I haven't painted my wing in far enough, so I'm just going to bring this down now like that and put a more broken wing in there. Not broken as in broken, but just add in a little bit. And you can put some flecks on here like this. Now it's dry. If you wanted some texture on your bird, you could just put some flecks in like that. Just going to put slight more there as well. These are the adjustments that you need to make on your own picture. Okay, now I'm just going to put a little bit of burnt umber and a bit of Payne's grey together to make a darker brown. I'm just going to put some shadowing on his, I'm going to put a little bit of darkness just in there. I'm going to put a little bit of darkness just on the top of his head, like that. A little bit coming down here, like that. A little bit on the back of this bit here. Just to give it a little bit more interest in the detail part of it. I think we'll do the same thing with the red. Just pick up a little bit of red and just put it in around the beak like that and down this section here. Maybe a bit just in that bit there where the crease would be of his head, where his head meets his neck. Okay, take up a white or a pen or whatever you've got, make sure it's working. Bit of gouache, just put a highlight on his eye like that. You could do the same with your other Posca pens or your Sharpies. You can put some line work on your leaves. So if I just take up again, it's just the same colours that I've been using, but we'll put some veins in here like that. You can make them stronger if you want them stronger, it's up to you. Thicker, like that. You can go into as much or as little detail as you please with these marks. But again, less is more with watercolour, so just remember that. I'm just going to put a bit of a shadow on the underside of these structures here. Just to give them again a bit more shape, but they must all be on the same side of the form. Let's just put a little bit more work into these berries. I think I'll get some brighter red, so I've got some cadmium red here. We put down initially some alizarin crimson, so you can put this cadmium onto the berry. That's better, isn't it? So we put some more berries on. I wonder, put some more berries in. Let's put another group. Actually no, I'm going to leave them. Okay, so there we have our robin. Again, you can put snow on, you can put glitter on, you can put Merry Christmas on, you can do whatever you please. You can add a little bit more structure into your robin if you want it, put some more details on feathers. The white marker pen can be used to do highlights on the ivy, like this. Again, just think about, actually I missed out the marks on that one, didn't I? The vein marks. Think about where the highlights would be before you put them in. Yeah, you could also put a little bit of snow on the branches, or it just makes it look a bit sort of frosty. Highlights on the berries, but I can't put them in yet because they're not dry. Let me just dry this off quick. there, the berries are dry. Yeah, you put a little highlight on them. Again, like I said, you can use paint here. You could use silver pen. Okay, so there's card number 3. There's a lovely robin. Alright, again, you can add snowflakes, you can put some glitter on, do what you want. Wording. Okay, enjoy.